Today is Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. Went from green to red today. I'm down about 68 bucks, which is right at 2.7%. I was initially up 1% after my first two moves. Went 2 for 2 on those, and then my third move ended up being a big loser. I was trading on my phone. I was trading my third trade I took when I was hanging out with my coworkers after our shift. I was distracted, trading on my phone. I try not to trade on my phone. Sometimes I do if I'm, at work, and it ended up happening. I went to make my exit on the third trade, and it would have been a small profit. If I got a poor fill, it would have been at least a break-even trade, basically. And I didn't order it correctly to sell. And by the time I got it figured out, I had lost quite a bit of profit there. Turned my green day to a red day. I tried waiting around for a nice safe trade after the market opened once I got home, and I'm starting to fall asleep watching charts, so I'm going to call it a day today. Kind of sucks. I was ahead and then I blew it all, so I guess that's part of life and learning to stay disciplined with the rules. I keep my rules pretty simple. I try to not trade on my phone. I try to not trade distracted. I try to not trade if I'm overly tired or if my emotions have got to me, and I broke a couple of those rules this morning and ended up ruining a green day for me. So lesson learned there. Let's try not to do that for a little while. I'll show you the moves. Again, a couple bad habits even in my good trades this morning. I kind of panic sold on one of them, and it could have been a bigger swing than what I got. It is what it is. Not my best day, not my worst day. Live the trade another day. Hopefully we can get in the green tomorrow. This is my first trade of the morning on Wednesday. Ticker HSDT. Popped up right at 6 o'clock. I was actively watching, waiting for something like this to happen. We had a huge squeeze here. I knew I needed to wait for a decent pullback. That's what we got on this next candle. I'm in my entry as this candle started to kind of climb back up. Waited for one candle. This candle kind of formed a weird doji with a little bit of a bottoming tail. It made me nervous, so I went ahead and sold. Had I held, this next candle made probably 15 cents more profit. Even if you cut it in half and made another 7 or 8 cents more profit, that would have been a lot bigger of a move for me here. When I sold, it was very near break even, just a small profit. I was afraid this was going to flush, though. That wasn't a great looking candle for me. The way it closed versus where this one opened, that would have been a fine indicator to stay in, but the way this candle was forming upon the closing, I really didn't like the sense of it, so I went ahead and got out for a small profit. This is my second trade of the morning on Wednesday. Ticker STKH. This was a pretty quick pop and drop here. I saw it pop up initially here in this candle formation. We had quite a bit of a drop off, and then we started to slowly climb back up. On this candle here, we initially kind of started to drop lower, and then once we broke the high of this previous candle, I went ahead and made an entry. I also exited very quickly once I got in the green here. This candle ranged nearly about 70 cents or so, and I popped out right at around 10 cents. This was one of my perfect examples of the get green and get out when I need to just let these moves breathe a little bit at least. I mean, I had no reason to get out when I did. It was only a few seconds. I mean, maybe 10 or 15 seconds where I kind of got some good profit and got out looking for just a clean base hit, where if I would have held on to it, even by the end of the candle formation, we had taken some off the top, which could have been a better reason to sell than just randomly selling once I got green. It is what it is. I'm trying to get better. At least this was a decent entry for me. Could have done a lot better on my exit here, though. This is my third and final move on Wednesday morning. Ticker TRNR. This is where I went from green to red on the morning. We had a nice squeeze here. Huge topping tail was a big caution flag for me. So I knew I needed to wait for an appropriate pullback and entry point. We got that on this next candle. We dropped quite a bit lower and we started to climb. Once we kind of broke the main body of this previous candle, I went ahead and made an entry and we quickly started to climb up. I was thinking we were going to shoot through the 130s on this candle, probably tickle 150 on the next one. Obviously that didn't happen. Once we hit 130, we just started to shit the bed here. I did make an exit attempt here where I initially clicked the sell button. It would have been a small profitable trade, probably a few cents. Even if I got a poor fill, it would have been at least a break-even trade. What I did wrong here, I was doing a few things wrong. First of all, I was trading on my phone. I always try to not trade on my phone. Secondly, I was visiting my coworkers. Our shift had just ended. We were talking about our shift as we were leaving for the morning, so I was extremely distracted. As the wife and I talk about all the time, I want to give trading the attention it deserves, and I wasn't doing that in this scenario. My ego had gotten ahead of me. My previous 4 trades had been 4 for 4 on the green, so I was feeling kind of invincible at this point. And even when I initially clicked sell, it still would have been a profitable trade, but I did not fill the order correctly, and of course the order didn't fill. By the time I figured out that it hadn't filled, why it hadn't filled, and modified my order, we had went from a break-even trade to losing about 15 cents a share here. And this is a pretty cheap stock, so for me with a small account, 15 cents goes a long way, and that's what turned my green to red this morning. No one to blame but myself here. This was just a lack of discipline and a lack of respect for the trading, and it ended up costing me another green day. So lesson learned. Let's do our best to not do that anymore. Just dumb. I should have done better and given it the attention it deserved.